They say Africans are the problem of Africa, a painful phrase that sometimes echoes louder than truth. But what if the real enemy isn't the distant West, but the hand next door? Welcome to the Black Post. This is where we break down the headlines they don't want you to understand, with clarity, truth, and a Pan-African lens. If you're passionate about Africa's future and fed up with filtered narratives, you're in the right place. So go ahead, like, share, and subscribe to stay plugged into the movement. Burkina Faso's recent discovery reads like a Cold War thriller. A network of traitors, hidden not in the shadows of Ouagadougou, but across the border in Ivory Coast. Intelligence forces uncovered a secret base, a covert hub used to destabilize Burkina Faso, sabotage its rise, and even plot the assassination of President Ibrahim Traoré. The chilling twist? This isn't foreign intervention. It's betrayal from a so-called brother nation. The base, located in Attecoubé, Abidjan, carries a dark history, once a stronghold for militias during Ivory Coast civil war, linked to Alassane Ouattara's rise, a leader many claim was installed by foreign powers. Now, it allegedly harbors Burkinabe traitors, spies weaving a silent war. The question burns: who funds this? Are Ivorians complicit or also victims? This isn't just about borders, it's about Africa's soul. Can the continent unite, or will it fracture from within? Since the failed April 16th coup, Burkina Faso's elite intelligence units have hunted whispers in the dark, and what they found is a nightmare: betrayal running deep, a neighbor's soil turned battlefield. The stakes? Higher than ever. The story? Far from over. The discovery sent shockwaves across the Sahel. This was no longer just Burkina Faso's fight. It had become regional, international, personal. The question burned: how deep does this go? And how far would the traitors and their shadowy backers go to crush Captain Traoré's revolution? But should anyone be surprised? If a man could ignite a civil war in his own country, one that left thousands dead, what would stop him from fueling chaos across the border? Here's the twist few dare to speak. Ivory Coast's president, Alassane Ouattara, is Burkinabe by origin. His roots trace back to the very nation he now stands accused of undermining. Intelligence reveals his father even owns property in Burkina Faso, making the betrayal cut deeper than politics. It's familial. The same compound in Abidjan, once a training ground for rebels during Ivory Coast's bloody civil war, has allegedly been repurposed into a covert operations hub targeting Burkina Faso's stability. This isn't speculation anymore. Burkina's intelligence didn't just uncover the location, they exposed a key player, Basima, a Burkinabe turncoat at the heart of the conspiracy. After a daring raid, his phone was seized. Most would hit a dead end, encrypted, locked, scrubbed clean. But Burkina's tech-savvy spies cracked it open. What they found was explosive: messages, contacts, plans, proof. So who is Basima? A man who betrayed his own people, aligning with forces desperate to drag Burkina Faso back into chaos. He wasn't fighting for democracy, he was fighting for power, for profit. He helped orchestrate the failed April 16th coup against Traoré, but the plot crumbled because even in darkness, some men still stand loyal. Now, the real question lingers: who pulls Basi's strings? The deeper this goes, the uglier it gets, and the Sahel hangs in the balance. The plot was exposed, the network cracked, but Basima didn't face justice. He fled to Ivory Coast, where he wasn't treated as a fugitive or traitor, but as a partner. Within weeks, he was handed a powerful role, head of the Office of Investigation of Crackdowns. The title sounded bureaucratic, but his real job was far darker, coordinating mercenaries, foreign funders, and disloyal Burkinabe soldiers, all with the backing of key figures in the Ivorian government. The old military base in Attecoubé, once a relic of Ivory Coast's civil war, was transformed into a nerve center for a new mission: destroy Traoré, plunge Burkina Faso into chaos, and crush the rise of African independence. For men like Basi, sovereignty was a threat and freedom bad for business. Then came the smoking gun. The phone seized from Basi wasn't just evidence, it was a roadmap to treason. Investigators unearthed a 4 billion CFA war chest, personally funded by Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara, to overthrow Captain Traoré. The plan? Corrupt the military, turn Burkina's civilian defense forces against their own, and replicate the failed April 16th coup. But this time with enough money to buy betrayal. Yet they underestimated one thing: loyalty. Traoré survives not just because of generals, but because of ordinary citizens, soldiers, village defenders, people who refused to sell their nation. It was their courage that exposed the April plot, and their resolve that may yet foil this one. Because here's what the plotters still don't understand. Traoré didn't buy loyalty, he earned it. While other leaders hide in palaces, he stands on the front lines, and that's a power no amount of money can break. Traoré isn't a distant commander, he stands shoulder to shoulder with his troops. When bullets fly, he's there. When soldiers fall, he ensures their families are cared for, their sacrifices honored. This isn't political theater, it's raw, unwavering conviction. While other leaders rule from air-conditioned offices, Traoré earns loyalty the only way that matters, by proving his own is unbreakable. That's why no amount of money, not even 24 billion CFA francs, can buy what he has. The traitors plotting against him don't understand that in Burkina Faso, loyalty isn't for sale. It's forged in shared struggle, sealed in blood, and repaid with respect. Yet the conspirators keep trying, betting greed will crack the ranks. Their playbook is ancient but effective. Tempt soldiers with wealth, divide them with promises, weaken them from within. But the April 16th plot proved something darker. When cash fails, they turn to foreign mercenaries. Decrypted files reveal a chilling detail. Much of that 24 billion was earmarked for private military contractors, hired guns from the US, Europe, and beyond. These soldiers for rent have no allegiance to Africa, only to profit. They thrive in chaos, fueling wars that keep the continent unstable, while Western arms dealers and shadowy interests cash in. This is the real war Burkina Faso faces, not just against traitors, but against an entire system that profits from African suffering. Yet Traoré remains standing, not because of weapons or wealth, but because of something far stronger. The unbroken will of a people who've chosen freedom over submission. The question isn't whether money can buy betrayal, it's whether betrayal can break a nation that's learned to stand as one. The battle for Burkina Faso has moved beyond guns and borders. It's now a war of influence, where loyalty is under siege by money, mercenaries, and manipulation. Foreign interests have turned instability into a business model, flooding the Sahel with private military contractors, many of them former French soldiers who once operated in the region under the guise of counter-terrorism. Now they return as hired guns, armed with intimate knowledge of Burkina Faso's defenses and a potential vendetta against Traoré for expelling France's colonial foothold. But the deadliest weapon isn't bullets, it's propaganda. Decrypted files reveal a chilling media offensive. Ivorian-backed journalists are being paid to spin Traoré as a dictator, erasing his reforms and amplifying falsehoods. The goal? To fracture African unity from within. After years of Western media manipulation, many Africans have grown wary of foreign narratives. But what happens when the lies come from their own? This is the cruelest twist. The same hands that should be building Africa are now tearing it down, trading truth for profit. Yet in the face of this orchestrated betrayal, Traoré's greatest shield remains the unshakable loyalty of those who see through the deception. The question is no longer just who will win, but whether Africa can survive the enemies it never saw coming. The plot against Burkina Faso takes an even darker turn, as investigators uncover Basima's sinister dual role, not just a traitor to his homeland, but a key enforcer in Ivory Coast's shadowy security apparatus. The same man orchestrating attacks against President Traoré has been silencing President Ouattara's political rivals at home, proving his loyalty belongs only to power and money. With Ivory Coast's 2025 elections looming, the stakes couldn't be higher. Ouattara, in power since 2011, faces growing unrest as citizens reject his prolonged rule. Opposition figures like Laurent Gbagbo threaten the status quo, but Ouattara isn't banking on votes. Intelligence reveals a chilling strategy: elimination over election. Already, rising contender Tidjane Thiam has been sidelined, with Basi pulling the strings. Now, the same mercenary networks destabilizing Burkina Faso are being weaponized at home. Recent intel confirms Basi deployed 4 undercover operatives to scout Burkina's vulnerabilities, operating from Abidjan's Azalai Hotel, a hub for clandestine meetings. The playbook is clear: crush dissent abroad, suppress democracy at home, and let foreign guns do the dirty work. This isn't just political warfare, it's a betrayal of an entire region. As Burkina Faso fights for sovereignty, Ivory Coast's regime is proving that some African leaders would rather rule through fear than serve their people. The question now is, how far will the rot spread? This intercepted conspiracy ignites a war of lies and mercenaries. The trap snapped shut thanks to Burkina Faso's razor-sharp intelligence forces. The foreign mercenaries, caught before they could melt into the shadows, broke under interrogation, exposing a conspiracy far deadlier than imagined. This wasn't just espionage, it was the prelude to war. 5 frigates bankrolled by Ivory Coast's shadowy 24 billion CFA war chest stand ready. The plan? A full-scale assault on Ouagadougou, blending Australian mercenaries, African turncoats, and Burkinabe traitors hidden among loyal troops. At the center of the web, Basima, the double agent, taking orders from Gabriel Bassolet, a shadow commander who coldly declared, "Toppling Burkina Faso is the key to destroying the entire AES alliance." But the real weapon isn't just bullets, it's deception. While Ivorian and Western backers stage flashy anti-terror theatrics, they're the ones arming the chaos. And the bitterest pill? African hands are pulling the triggers. Burkina Faso isn't waiting. Surveillance is 24/7. Defenses are fortified. And the people, once victims of betrayal, are now wide awake. This fight isn't just about Traoré. It's about whether Africa will ever break free from the cycles of greed and treason. The plotters miscalculated one thing. This time their schemes were exposed. And in the glare of truth, even the darkest plots can unravel.